So there was another story that the New York Times reported. I don't know if you had a chance to see this, but basically, the New York Times came out with a study, and they confirmed basically what we all knew about the COVID lockdowns. Kind of a weird shift there, but I guess everything kind of a time because you come from California where they still have mask mandates in some counties, right? Do they?
They don't. They were going to implement it in LA County, but they decided against it. They were going to in fucking July
of
of 2022. They were going to implement another fucking mask mandate, and then they're like, oh, maybe we shouldn't do that.
So the New York Times basically came out with an article saying the pandemic erased 2 decades of progress in math and reading, with the subheader saying the results of a national test showed just how devastating the last 2 years have been for 9-year-old school children, especially the most vulnerable. So during this entire time, and this was something that Jay and I are obviously very passionate about, because if we didn't have for one, if we didn't have COVID lockdowns, we probably wouldn't have a BB Power Hour. Although I feel like you and I probably would have, the logical conclusion or trajectory of our friendship would be like starting a podcast together.
Yeah.
It just so happened that the COVID lockdowns accelerated it. It was April 2020. You and I were bored as shit. We're like, what are we going to do?
Right.
We just like started doing this stream.
It started on Instagram Live.
Yeah. 2.5 years later, here we are still doing it. But one thing that, obviously there are a lot of things that went wrong because of, in terms of like government handling of COVID,
the abuse of using experts.
What's most disconcerting and probably most disillusioning is the fact that we know they lied.
Yeah.
We know we have the emails to prove that they knew otherwise. And yet, time and time again, these people are never held to account. Yeah, fucking Anthony Fauci announcing he's going to retire at the end of the year from the NIAID, and all these articles just glorifying Fauci, saying like, what a public servant, what a noble and decent man. Fuck out of here.
Right.
Fauci is up there with like Henry Kissinger in terms of like the worst civil servants that this country's ever had.
I feel and also like, and it's not only that, also if you go back to the way they handled the HIV crisis and all that kind of stuff as well, it was really bad. And I think a lot of these journalistic and in the article itself, you're not going to find them hit on the experts, on the people who said, no, we have to close down to save even one life because that's what matters. And we knew early on during COVID that it does not affect kids.
Doesn't affect kids.
And
There's no evidence to prove that it impacted kids the way it impacted the elderly and the morbidly obese and the immunocompromised.
Yeah, or people who had heart conditions and stuff like that. Instead of just closing it all down and making sure and making it sure that we ruin the economy, ruin the education of children, and like made them the ultimate sacrifice, we should have just staggered it. We should have made it known, like, hey, if you're above this age, above this weight, if you have these diseases, this is the risks that you're going to have.
Hold on. Jay, you can't just say above this weight. You have to like go with like body mass index, because you're 4'9", but you weigh 200
Hey,
pounds,
I am 5'4".
Okay.
I'm sitting on three books right now.
In any event, Jay, your BMI is enormously high because you're so short.
BMI is going to be a little bit different. The reason why BMI is going to be a little different is because you're going to have athletic people who are either weighing more than they should because of their height, because of muscle mass, but they're still very, very healthy. At the end of the day, the way that they should have done it is like, hey, if you have X, Y, and Z, if you're at this age, these are the risks that you're going to have. But instead of doing that, we closed everything down. We forced families to sacrifice tremendously Like this is not a simple sacrifice that happened. We had millions of jobs ruined. We had hundreds, not even hundreds of thousands. It's hundreds of thousands in California alone. We had millions of businesses closed down forever.
Right, forever.
Forever. And then we closed down schools for 2 years.
Yeah.
And saying that this is what we need to do in order to save lives. And we're showcasing that that was not the case. Even after getting double vaxxed, even after getting fucking the booster,
literally
you're still getting COVID, and people are still fucking dying over it after getting vaccinated.
Bro,
like all of that shit. It just showcases how much that they fucking lied, how much the media does not want to showcase that they have egg on their face, because they still want that narrative that using experts helps push the stories that they fucking want. It helps push the agenda they want, the narrative they want, and they don't want it to showcase that experts are full of fucking shit because they just pay them to say what the fuck they want them to say.
Yeah, I think what's really disconcerting about all of this is the fact that cases and deaths are insanely low. So like any time in 2020. Actually, you know what? The highest that there have been the highest like case number and deaths have been under Biden, not Trump.
And what's really funny is we already had.
I think gonna shut down the virus, guys.
We already had the double vax. We already had the booster.
And it's always that kind of shit. It's always the people who have fucking 69 times boosted with the COVID vaccine who are the ones contracting COVID. They're being like, I fucking I break it, like I just tested positive for COVID. Thank God I'm quadruple boosted and vaxxed. And
yeah, they all copy and paste.
It is a copy pasta. Like at this time, like I honestly I want to just say I really want to just like send a tweet that says like breaking news, guys. I just tested positive for Hep C. Thank God I'm quadruple vaxxed and boosted. Oh man, it's just one of those things that drives you insane.
No, and I got double vaxxed and I still got it. I was double vaxxed and I still contracted COVID, but because luckily,
do you feel lied to about getting the vax? Do you regret that decision
of getting vaxxed?
Yeah.
No, I feel lied to.
I
don't regret getting vaxxed. Like just same thing with like the flu shot. I don't regret getting the flu shot every time, even if I get the flu. Because I still think that it helps in terms of fighting the virus, but the fact that we were lied to on the effects of it, we were lied to saying that if you get vaccinated, you're 98% less. You have a 98% less chance to get the virus. All of that was a fucking lie.
Yeah,
that was more of it than actually just getting the needle in my arm. I'm fine with it because luckily I'm a healthy guy. I don't mind. I still feel like I had COVID before I even got the vaccine.
I think that's the weird thing about it is that like, yeah, getting COVID sucked and I never tested positive for it, but I'm pretty sure I had it.
Yeah.
But even
COVID right now.
In COVID all over me.
Mm-hmm.
But what I was trying to say is that when I kind of looked at how everyone was pushing the vaccine, like obviously Jay, you and I are very much not anti-vax. It's not like we're thinking that they're putting stuff in these vaccines, at least historically in the time that we've been alive. I think what's so odd about this particular vaccine is that it's not actually a vaccine.
Right.
It's technically just a treat. It's like a preventative treatment because it's not actually. It
doesn't stop the virus.
It
doesn't prevent you from getting it. It doesn't do any of the stuff that vaccines are supposed to be able to do.
Right.
It's almost like taking like a Tylenol when you get sick. It's just to help, or taking vitamin C to help prevent you from getting the flu. Like it's not a vaccine.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. It's like a treatment. So like everything about like the demonization of people who were pushing alternative treatments, whether it be hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, it wasn't like the quote unquote established, or the establishment endorsed treatment options. Everybody was saying like, oh, hydroxychloroquine, nearly killed a man in Nevada because he thought that hydroxychloroquine.
Because he drank something.
Like fish cleaner.
Yeah, fish cleaner.
When really, actually, the story later comes out that
the wife wanted to murder him.
Was trying to murder her husband, and somehow that got spun around as Trump pushed the person to kill him, to kill someone by having them take hydroxychloroquine. Like, and at the end of the day, and we continually ask this, it almost like, at what part do you feel like you're in the dystopian film, and that this is all by design, and it's all just a ploy to get us to think that we're just going to go insane, we have no control, everything's predetermined for us, and we live in a simulation.
Right. I mean, if you really want to think about it in that way, it could be. And I honestly think what it is right now, and the way that it's being played out, is that the media itself is so caught up in making sure that the way that they use their narrative, the way that they use their experts, the way that they use their stories and all that kind of stuff doesn't get shat on, because they're going to be very, very cautious on the way that they talk about these things, and we're seeing it time and time again. That this is the aftermath of the public being completely lied to over this issue.
I think what's so wild though about all of that, about all of this, is that like you can see when you talk to people on the your local store, at the if you ever strike up a conversation with someone at your office or something like that, and you like kind of get into a discussion about this, which is not very common, but let's just say like family and friends, you kind of bring up like, what do you think about all this? Everyone's just so fucking tired of all the bullshit. Like, I don't think there's like any, the sad part about all of this is like, I don't think there's any like urgency or like willpower to like want to change it, because we're all just so tired we're also worn down by the bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not, I feel like we feel completely powerless to it.
Right. And I think more and more people are seeing it, how the media uses its power to manipulate the narrative, manipulate people, manipulate stories. It's what radicalized a lot of people, COVID, and the way the media handle it.
So sorry, I was distracted by this story because I now have to send this to Spencer, because this is just way over the top. Maybe I'll send it to the HPH group chat, because already I'm getting tagged in it saying, "Is this you, Siraj?" Spencer might want to check the HPH group chat. But what were we talking about? Okay, COVID. So back to the New York Times. How can we trust anything they say about COVID, given what they've said about it in the past? Obviously, that's something up for debate.